You probably didn't hear this on CNN, but you should have. The U.S. Supreme Court just made a move that could wipe out the Democratic Party's last grip on congressional power, and no one on the left is ready for it. We're talking about a legal decision so monumental it could unravel 60 years of race-based gerrymandering and fundamentally reshape the political map right before our eyes. But what we go over in this video is that this wasn't ever about fairness or civil rights. It was about control. That control is now slipping fast, and the Democrats are going to lose their minds. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Look, if you like our videos and you haven't done so already, you should become a subscriber to the channel. You can hit that notification bell and smack the like button because it helps us get our message out to more people. All right, so here's something you probably didn't hear on CNN or MSNBC. The Supreme Court just dropped a ruling that could wipe out the Democratic Party's hopes of reclaiming national power for a very, very long time, for the rest of our lifetime. This is real, guys, and it could trigger the most important political shift in your lifetime. At the center of it all, redistricting, otherwise known as gerrymandering. The Democrats have been redrawing maps since 1965, not based on geography or logic, common beliefs, or even fairness, but on race. They've been stacking districts to give themselves a built-in advantage. Yes, they have. But that game may finally be over. The U.S. Supreme Court is now signaling it could strike down race-based gerrymandering altogether. If that happens, it doesn't just tweak election outcomes, guys. It dismantles the entire strategy the left has relied on for decades. To understand how we got here, let's go back. In 1965, something awful happened in Selma. It was called Bloody Sunday. In response, President Lyndon Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act. The goal was to guarantee that Black Americans could vote freely and without discrimination. It was a fair and noble intention. But that's not where it ended. The Democrats started using the Voting Rights Act as a political weapon, crafting what's known as majority-minority districts. In other words, they turned a civil rights law into a political engineering tool for their party. And the courts backed them up. In 1986, the Supreme Court ruled that Thornburg v. Gingles, that ruling lowered the bar for activists to scream voter suppression. It's a vague concept that says that if you don't draw districts to guarantee a specific racial outcome, then you're somehow suppressing votes. It's not true, but that's what they wanted you to believe. So what the Democrats, what did they do? They concentrated minority voters in select areas while slicing apart conservative communities. And the Supreme Court just let it happen. But now comes Louisiana v. Clay. And this is where the left is sweating bullets, real bullets. The case, it centers on the state's decision to create a second majority Black district. A group of voters pushed back, saying it violated their 14th and 15th Amendment rights. Their words, this was nothing more than race-based gerrymandering. Someone had to say it. The court didn't just take the case, they expanded it. Now they're asking a much bigger question, whether any majority-minority district violates the Constitution. And if the answer is yes, get ready for all hell to break loose from the Democrats, enough to get them to send their shock troops onto the streets again. It could wipe out the Gingles precedent and take down the Democrats' go-to tool, Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. And that's exactly where this is headed, guys. The High Court now seems poised to rule that drawing districts to exclude whites, or any other group really, is flat out unconstitutional. And you would think Democrats could never argue against that, right? You would, but you would be wrong. So what happens if they go through with it? Democrats would lose as many as 25 House seats by 2026. That's not speculation, guys. That's simple math. Out of those 25 seats, 11 are in the South. And that means the Democratic Party could literally vanish from the region. Here's the part no one's talking about. Republicans would start every House race with the built-in advantage of roughly 230 seats. Can you imagine? That's before you even count what's happening in Texas, Ohio, and Florida right now. This isn't just a setback for Democrats, guys. It's an extinction level event. That's why they're freaking out. It would mark the most dramatic political shakeup in 100 years. And the timing couldn't be worse for them. Trump is heading into the midterms with $1.4 billion in a war chest. The DNC, they're scrambling to borrow money. This is what happens when your entire strategy is built on shaky ground. For 6 decades, Democrats have learned that they could lean on racially gerrymandered districts as a key strategy to hold on to power. But now, districts will need to be redrawn around real communities of interest, not artificial racial quotas. The era of map rigging, the age of racially manipulated election outcomes, is coming to a clear and historic close. And it's taking the Democratic Party's grip on Congress with it. Now, the only thing we have to worry about is corrupt state Supreme Courts. Because I know in my state of Pennsylvania, the Supreme Court is as corrupt as the day is long. They're the ones that changed election law, which they did not have the authority to do, according to Article 1, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution. Only a state legislature can do that. But they went and changed it for Democrat lawyers, and it affected the 2020 election. So all of that garbage could be thrown out, and we would have to have elections now based on districting that is fair to the community. And that is something the Democrats fear most. All right, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.